27. Toby will be here soon, but I figured we're going to get the meeting started. Okay.
Christine Thibodeau.
Here.
Shannon Lugden.
Here.
Katie Levasseur. David Susi. Tanya Rosen.
Here.
Toby Gendreau. Lily Collins.
Here.
And Maddie Moore.
Here.
I do have one adjustment. You have a new agenda on your table under items of business, new business, retirements. We're going to table the second retirement notification. So the information you have in your packet, please keep that confidential. That is to be determined whether or not that individual will be retiring.
He might be coming in. Yep.
She's quick to pass it Just did the adjustment to the agenda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome. We just started, so you didn't miss much.
The road from Caribou was much worse than I anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
All right, period of public participation. Do we have any sign-ups to talk
I
tonight?
don't think so.
Approval of minutes.
I can make a motion to approve the minutes for meeting 9:04.
9:40.
Oh, 9:40, sorry. I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Financial statements. Good luck. Look at Jim.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial statements.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? She's not here?
Lucy had a passing event. She's on bereavement.
Presentation.
We have our Fort Kent Elementary School and our CHS VRMS leadership teams here to present to you on the mid-year update on their school-wide goals. And I will turn it over to whoever wants to go first.
Let's roll. Hi. I'm Leslie. I teach science at the high school, anatomy, biology, forensics. I'm also the ski coach. I'm sorry I'm here in my ski outfit today.
I'm Mary Pelletier. I teach middle school math and robotics.
I'm Laura Buzin. I teach high school seniors and juniors, but mostly seniors, 12th grade English.
And I handed out a mid-year reflection for each of you before we get started today.
So I'll start. You want me to start?
No, that's good.
Okay, so we felt that it was important to continue our proficiency-based instruction planning and training practices that we had for that. Worked really well last year, and we're on a system every evaluation year. Well, every year about a third of our teachers are evaluated, and so we're continuing that to make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of grading and instructional practices and standards-based instruction, and using rubrics to assess. So part of we're using eye observation, which is we do a self-assessment with eye observation, but we also make a plan for ourselves in terms of our goals for the year. And part of this is we have to have like a progression of learning, and then we have to include our lesson plans and our activities for that, and our formative assessments to check in, and our summative assessments, of course, and our rubrics, standards-based. And what's really cool is we also do a reflection. Now, I went through it last year, and as a first-year high school senior English teacher, it was very helpful because it was the first time, I had done it based on the senior project, senior papers, and stuff like that. And it was just a very valuable experience. This is going to make 34 years I've been teaching, but we all learn something new. Change is good. So for new teachers, all of us, I think it's a really great practice. The reflection part really helped me decide, okay, what worked, what didn't work. Had the rubrics were great, but we also had to have like an example of a 4-3-2-1 So that I can carry forward this year for that particular unit. So it's a really great practice. I'm glad we continued it. This year's cycle of teachers is going to go through it. And so that's what I have to say about that.
The second goal, and it's actually new this year, that we decided to work on is AI, artificial intelligence, in the classroom. So last year in March, we had two speakers, two big presentations. It was a tri-district workshop. Carl Hooker was one of them, and there was another group of people. And so we felt as a team that teachers were, on a huge, broad array of where they're at in the journey with AI. Some were very apprehensive, some were jumping in with 2 feet. So we felt like we needed to make sure that we had some support for teachers in place throughout the year with AI. Towards the beginning of the year, we met with Carl Hooker again through Zoom, and he walked us through some really good new applications. We also provided every teacher with his book, which is a great resource. It's great if you read it through and to kind of wrap your head around it, but it's also a great book just to go back to as a resource for things that you can use AI with. And some of our early releases have been designated towards discussions on AI, and it's been amazing. Just real conversations with each other. We actually mixed up content areas and grade level areas, and just shared where we were at with AI and how we felt about it, how we were using it in our classroom, and everyone shared one way that they were using it in their classroom, whether it was for unit planning or to help students come up with an outline for a paper, or I know in my class I have them create a new species and have to discuss evolution. So AI generates this new picture and they have to discuss how did they get there through evolution. And then you have, teachers who are just beginning to use AI, a little apprehensive, but now I think that people are seeing more and more what it's being used for, whether it's administrative work in our classrooms and writing letters or making permission slips to actually using it in the classroom. I think people are slowly dipping their toes in, and it's been really good. So we'll continue this throughout the year, hoping to kind of use some of that early release time to continue to progress and just help people where they're at with AI.
Okay, and then the other goal we have is for PBIS, to integrate PBIS into our school. And so for the PBIS team, our job was made a whole lot easier because a few years ago, Mr. Surwa had us form a committee about creating the matrices that we have for our behaviors. And so we already have our behavior matrix for our school, for middle school, for high school, for elementary. And so that was the first goal for us to do anyway, was to make our action plan and then make our behavior matrix. But we already have our behavior matrix. So that goal was done. And so after that, we have our core values, we have our behavior matrix. And so those parts of the action plan are already done for us. And so we're moving along at a faster pace than most year one schools are. So we've jumped ahead quite quickly. And so at this time we've secured a community member to be on our committee, and we're focused on getting student representatives. And the Swiss data system, we're securing the Swiss data system this quarter, and we're going to test drive it next quarter and then fully implement it next year.
Can you tell me what that stands for?
What's that?
The Swiss?
The Swiss data system is so that we can get real-time data with our behaviors. And so we know where they're happening, when they're happening, what time, and we can get that stuff.
Like a reporting system?
Yes,
okay.
It's a reporting system for behaviors, and they use it here at the elementary, and they find it very valuable, very easy to use, very user-friendly. And so that's what we like at the middle high school, and that's what we're working on right now.
Middle high school currently uses a homemade reporting system that we made with Google Docs, which has been fine. But now that they're a PBIS school, they have access to the Swiss system, which has more bells and whistles.
So like you have a student that typically 9:30 a.m. every morning you're seeing behaviors from, like it would show these patterns
It would
and you
show-
could identify what's happening
Yes.
at 9:20 and
Yep.
that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And so we've got some, with PBIS, with the PBIS team, we're meeting regularly, and we've got some top secret activities planned, and yeah, so I can't say what they are, but we've got some top secret activities planned, and on the, I know, I'd like to say what they are, but I can't. So we've got some top secret activities planned, and they're a lot of fun. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fullerton Elementary.
Hi, I'm Lynn Ford. I teach third grade, and just to kind of shout out, Amy Levac is sick. She is part of our team this week.
Kelly Markey, Upper Elementary Learning Facilitator in Rise at the moment, CME.
So just to kind of piggyback, I'm going to start talking about PBIS. We are in year 3 of implementing PBIS, and we've been where they are. We've seen a lot of growth with that system. One of the things that we've seen probably the most growth in, I think, based on the information we've gathered, is that reporting system, the Swiss. We are now putting in data, and it's being looked at very closely. So like you were saying, we can see trends in behaviors that help us help the learner. The number one thing that we're seeing right now, or the group that is on the PBIS team that takes a look at the data, is respect. So that's our number one school goal right now, is targeting respect from our students, especially in the hallways and in different places within the school. But that's our number one that we're looking at, and that was decided based on data from the Swiss system. Just to kind of share some of the things that we are doing right now in year 3 and have been happening all year. We have a PBIS team, and that team meets bi-weekly, and they take a look at the data, they take a look at the implementation, and make decisions based on data. Daily, teachers are reviewing our core values, which are posted here in the gym and throughout the school, and those conversations take place, again, daily. Teachers have what we call SOPs, or standard operating procedures, so we explicitly teach behaviors and ways of doing things. You know, how do you act on the bus? How do you act in the cafeteria? And I guess the nicest thing about that is the common vocabulary. So whether you're in first grade or whether you're in 5th grade, you're hearing the same types of words being used, same types of conversations. We have a Warrior Pride cart, where monthly learners are rewarded by positive behavior, and they get to choose different prizes, incentives, whatever they've earned. Student celebrations take place, in which some teachers are doing it by grade. We are also we have done in the past wing celebrations, and those are coming back, which we will be doing as well. We also have climate surveys that go home to parents, to staff, as well as learners, and we take their feedback and we kind of help drive where we're headed and what's working or what may not be working. And as far as like staff, PBIS weekly briefs go out weekly, Monday morning. We all get an email that gives us information, friendly reminders, just important things that we need to know to share with our learners. In August, School Workshop Day, part of that day was designated to PBIS practices. September and January early releases, time has been allotted for PBIS as well. And just at staff meetings monthly. We always kind of touch upon it. So that's where we are in year 3.
It's pretty awesome. Our other goal that we started this year is with writing, because we've noticed with doing the interviews and stuff, we've noticed that there's a need. And there's actually, it's really kind of fun. There's been a shift. It's been like writing to like, hey. And we're seeing that happen now. So that's really, really exciting. So our new goal this year was, by June 2025, 100% of teaching staff will have participated in at least 4 professional development sessions focused on school-wide writing strategy and will consistently implement the agreed upon writing practices in our classrooms. Myself, Kayan Neto, and Amber DeVoe, we all took trainings last summer. It's an advancing thinking through writing through the writing revolution. Actually, this all stemmed way back to Kayan's book club that we took last year. She hosted this book club, but we all loved the process because very similar to PBIS, where we're all in the same language, we're all in the same language when developing writing, all the way up from K to 5. So Ms. Kayan Neto has been focusing on the lower, like K to 2 level, and Ms. Amber and I have been focusing on 3 through 5 when we're giving instruction, or 3 through 6. But it starts really young, like there's a whole sequence of pacing, so like obviously in kindergarten you're talking about the when, where, why. And then get into first grade, then you add the next one, you add the what, you know, and then the who. So it builds all the way up. Obviously this year we kind of went in just kind of like cold turkey, and we're all kind of experiencing it. But I can't wait to see what happens when it all comes up through. Because it builds on like the kernel sentence, but also on your language. So focusing on how people are forming their sentence orally first in the lower grade, so that when they get to the middle elementary, they're not writing as they talk at this point. That's all been developed. So we've even changed how we question our kids. So once that's developed in the lower levels, it goes into, we can work more on like really structured paragraphs, and that builds into multi-paragraphs, and then that builds on. So it's this beautiful progression, I guess, we're all familiar with, and all using the same language of writing. So we've been doing those workshops on early releases, about an hour. We had 6 sessions. Originally we did ours, but we kind of condensed those into 45-minute blocks, so it's not overwhelming. But that time has been incredible because it actually gives us a chance to come together and share. So we've been like sharing examples of this writing and talking about how it works best. But it can apply at all areas. So for instance, yeah, it's writing, however, we're pulling into sciences. So once we hit wins, we're like, okay, we're going to work with sentence fragments. We're going to use all the vocabulary from science class. So they're going deeper with that topic, but also practicing the writing skills. But we've also pulled it into our house as part of our PBIS. So we have, like, one of the strategies is because, but, so. So you have to answer a question. I score myself a 3 on my house because, and I have to have evidence. I score myself a 3 on my house, but identify another me that they can improve on. And I score myself a 3 on my house, so why is it important that we're doing this? So they can identify that. A lot of them will be like, yeah, because I want to pass my class and feel good about it. Or like they're familiar with it now, so we're pulling it into all the different areas. So hopefully, when they hit you guys, you're going to see a difference. Yeah, so that's basically where we are with our writing revolution. We do have, in Narrative November, all the kids produced a narrative and we showcased them and they were proud of them. Next one we're going to be doing is the next parent-teacher conferences, where we're going to have them choose their favorite piece, whatever it may be, that they want to share. And then once again, rolling on all that new introduction with AI, so having those discussions as well, where this piece allows us a chance to get in and score instruction and, you know, the handwritten paper piece, but then also have those discussions, once again, hopefully to help you guys once they get up there, but when's it appropriate to use this to enhance your writing? So, I don't know, it's been quite an adventure. We're only halfway through the year, so I'm really excited to see what happens as it continues.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Superintendent.
So last Thursday, we had our first 6th grade transition stakeholders planning committee meeting. We hosted that at CHS. We had 3 building administrators, actually 2 because one was off to go see his grandchild being born. 2 teachers who have children in 5th grade, 2 VRMS teachers at large, 2 parents of 5th grade teachers at large, and then the guidance counselor, and we had 1 board member, and I had asked Rory to attend. We had a good meeting. During that meeting, and you have the agenda in front of you, we talked about the facilities and programming plan. It's a plan that we showed you all, where if 6th grade is to be put in that building, then adult ed needs to be put here, and Chippy, the daycare, needs to go there. And so we shared that plan with them. We shared with them the facilities and programming timeline that we've shared with you as well. We did a little pros and cons activity with trying to determine what some of those positive things are with the move, and then what are some of those not so positive things. The pros did outweigh the cons, although Ms. Tammy Bernier was very honest about the fact that some kids may struggle just because change is really hard, especially kids that struggle socially and emotionally. But that happens at the 7th grade level now, so it'll just be a year earlier for those struggles. Then we talked about a communication plan. We were in all agreement that blasting this out on our school messenger, getting the word out, also posting regularly to social medias will be important, so that everyone has an idea of where we are in these stages. We've set a date and time to review survey. We looked at a survey that was developed, and I put a copy of that survey for you as well for you to look at. The survey outlines the advantages that we identified, and then it goes through and it asks each stakeholder group to answer just a few simple questions. And I just noticed my screenshot was cut off, but it asks, which advantages do you agree with from the selection of advantages? Then it asks, do you have any other advantages that are not provided? Do you have any concerns or disadvantages? And then it allows them to give a free answer of any other information they want to provide. So we would like to push out this survey with your permission as early as tomorrow, start gathering data, and then the committee will meet again. We've set a date, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's in 3 or 4 weeks, where we've pushed out the survey enough times that we know we have a good sample of responses. Go through that, and then that committee will ultimately bring a recommendation to you for your next board meeting based on the survey results. So that's where we're at. There was some really good feedback from those in attendance, mostly supportive of this initiative, including the parents of the current 5th graders. Many of them feel that this is a really good class to do this with. They're a tight-knit class, not a lot of behaviors, so they felt that it was a good class to pilot this with. So that's where we're at, and next meeting, when we meet, you should have a recommendation from that committee.
A question from the community. Somebody asked me if the RISE teachers that are there now are going to stay the RISE teachers, or if not, how is it decided who moves up?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that question, because you have to follow contract language, and there's no contract language for RISE. So contract language basically says, it talks about impact areas and it talks about grade levels. It doesn't talk about a mixed cohort of teachers. So we're right now at this point in time, Tammy Bernie is still looking at how a schedule would work. So I've initially asked her to look at bringing 2 teachers. Can you make it work? Now she's looking at 3 teachers versus 2 teachers, so we're not
bringing 3 teachers from the elementary school
right
to the high school.
Because we in those, if we did not have RISE, we would have 3 6th grade teachers. So those are the teachers that would have to go in that building. So
I guess that's my question too. Is it a have to, or is it a I want to?
It would be a have to based on course offerings and a schedule possibility. I've asked for it to be 2. I don't know that it's going to be possible to be 2. I think it's going to have to be 3. So when it comes time, I will sit down with the union president. We'll look at the language. We'll talk about thinking outside the box. Maybe there's some volunteers from this building that would like to go versus us blanketly saying all 6th grade teachers must go. But at the end of the day, if 6th grade is moving there, it seems like 6th grade teachers would have to move there.
So the RISE teachers,
They'll draw straws to see who the 6th grade teacher is.
that sounds like a fun answer.
I wish I had a more concrete, but like I said, RISE is different, and so we have to think differently a little bit. What I can't promise is that RISE will remain 3 teachers in that cohort if we have one less grade level. So we need to think about, do we talk about a 3rd grade moving in, or do we talk about putting more kids? I don't know the enrollment numbers in each grade level, so I can't answer that.
I guess in my head, I thought that we were putting 3rd in, but that's not a decision that's done.
It's not a decision that's done easily. Because then are you asking a 3rd grade teacher to go teach in a cohort where they have not been trained, they haven't, they haven't talked about the background behind it. So there's a lot of philosophy things that are different as well. I don't know. So that's my honest answer. I don't know. I would just like to have them arm wrestle and figure it out themselves, but I don't think that will happen as well. Mr. Anderson will have all the answers for next meeting.
Okay, perfect.
You have eyeballs looking at the back of your head right now.
So I heard that there was a parent that asked me if there was going to be an impact to the library. I don't know where that's coming from. Is this going to involve restructuring the way the library is made or set up? That's one of the rumors going around town right now. The library is going to be relocated.
Where?
Your office?
No, there's been no discussion about relocating the library, unless Mr. Anderson's had conversations. Maybe it's Mr. Neto that started that rumor before he left.
No, in the high school.
Oh, at the high
Oh,
school.
in the high school, no relocation of the library.
Yeah, I had heard something about there being some more encroachment in the library to take up some of the space.
No.
So, okay, just
No,
checking.
there's no more space to give.
Pretty good. I'm happy for you.
Any questions on the stakeholder meeting? And Rory, thank you for sitting in on that. My second item is in regards to French language and Acadian culture preservation. We had a Valley Unified Board meeting at the beginning of this month, and we were looking at the shared services, and we have this shared service of a shared French teacher that we have been unable to fill for a couple of years now. And it was actually Toby that brought up, maybe we need to think differently about this position or positions, and think about how to boost up French language. We all know that we're losing, through every generation, we're losing more and more of it. So how can we put a halt to that? How can we bring it back? And how can the schools work to help in that? The board asked that I reach out to a couple of key players. I reached out to Patrick Lacroix, thanks to Shannon's recommendation. He's the current director of Acadian Archives at UMFK. Patrick has agreed to attend the next board meeting of Valley Unified. I also reached out to Lise Pelletier, the former director of the Acadian Archives, and she has agreed to attend as well. I did also reach out to Don Levac, the president of Le Club Français, but Don cannot make that meeting, so I've asked him to invite somebody else from the club to come. Don has given me a lot of things that I can provide the board as well of what his suggestions are that he believes based on what's happening in other areas of the country where they have programming to preserve language. So I'll be able to provide that to the board, and we're just going to have a conversation about what's possible. Questions about that? You have this DOE newsroom briefing. I'm just sharing it with you because it's very interesting. that the DOE has opened a new outdoor learning pavilion on Marshwood Island. This is exactly what we applied for when we applied for the outdoor classroom space. It's like exactly what we applied for that we didn't get. So I thought it interesting that the DOE opened one themselves. Nowhere near Aroostook County. That was just FYI. The last thing I have for you is I wanted to update you on the Fort Kent Elementary administrative coverage. Last time we met, I had told you that John Coletta was going to be coming and helping out for 3 days a week. I got a call right before Christmas from Mr. Coletta that SAD 20 had contacted him and offered him an interim superintendent position. Mr. Coletta had worked for SAD 20 before coming to work here as an administrator and had to politely decline from coming to help here. I think the elementary level was something that may have factored into that, but I'm glad Mr. Coletta was able to give us a slight bit of advance notification. So we had scrambled and put together a plan with the administrative team here. I was going to go on Mondays, and Sharon was going to go on Tuesdays, and Jill was going to cover on Wednesdays. And when Mr. Anderson saw that, he said, wow, that's going to be a lot. So at that time, I reached out to Tanya and Toby, and I said, we have somebody in this school who is an expert on student behaviors and that type of thing, and that's Iris Gagne. So Kevin had a conversation with Iris, would you do this interim? Iris is working 4 days a week right now because she has scaled back because of her baby, but she has agreed on those 4 days to serve as Dean of Students. So Iris has been doing that, and it's been going well, it's consistent. And Kevin was out on Friday last week. I came here and she was doing great, and, things were going well, so I think it's a good fit for now. We're also secretly hoping that maybe this will change Iris's mind about not applying for it at the start, and maybe she'll apply for it so that we can move forward in the future with applications. It also gives us time to collect more applicants throughout this time of the year when things start to open up. So that's how we're filling in for now.
Have we had any applicants?
We have 2 in-house. We had 3 in-house. One pulled it back, 2, and then we have 1 outside applicant.
That's for the Dean of Students.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what we have right now. Questions on that? Other than that, you have your administrator reports. You have one from Mr. Chenard, one from Mr. Anderson, one from Mr. Daigle, and one from Ms. Stacy Sear, who apologizes for not being here tonight, but her husband was ill and she needed to stay home.
I really, really like the idea of streamlining the end of day at the secondary level. I think I didn't even think of that when I was thinking about the whole, for the high school.
Good or bad? Yeah.
Good,
Traffic flows.
nice.
We're not stuck there, it's not bottleneck, it's like the buses leave, it's half the time. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's great idea.
Yeah, when I read that, I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense, for sure. And then I like the fact that PBIS is continuing over to VRMS. Because I know at the elementary school, at least my littles, like that common language is brought with them everywhere. So it's nice to see that it's going to continue into the high school. Oh, and then thank you for the music date for a spring concert.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I don't
It
have
is
kids
very
there, but that's
awesome.
pretty awesome.
Yes. It makes life a whole lot easier for everyone.
I'll avoid Pleasant Street that day. we, Mitch, do we know how they, how we got hacked?
Basically, the entire international power school servers got hacked.
Huh.
So it wasn't just us, it wasn't just our state, this was not even just our country, this was a total, complete security breach for power school.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't your fault.
I was gonna say, you could fire me for that one. You know, this was across the board.
Wow.
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 The biggest problem is it doesn't include just current student records. This is 20 plus years of student records as well that are in there. So Experian, the company will be going through and providing, which I know on it, up to a couple of years of credit monitoring for all those whose information may have been hacked. So what they're going to do is a kind of a deep dive into the data and figure out who is eligible, and then in the next few weeks will receive notification. So teachers here will probably receive notification if their social security numbers were in there. Not all of them are. For the most part, elementary school students, there's no social security numbers or anything that are kept. They do keep it at the high school for things like SATs, standardized testing, so that is in there. So the exact scope of it is not fully revealed, but there's 60 plus million people that are in power. So it was a significant breach.
And this was for a ransom. That,
Now, the current position of Power School is that the data is safe because they paid the ransom and the data was deleted. But you're taking a hacker's word that he deleted 15 plus terabytes of data and is not going to do anything else with it. So that's their decision.
You can't trust somebody who holds you ransom. Who can you trust?
As well, so they're offering Plan B, which is credit monitoring services, and they've also been employing CrowdStrike to monitor dark web activity, to look for this data and any other scummy place it can show up.
Wow.
It was an interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, something else.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Any other questions?
See, the 7th and 8th grade spelling bee, I was at the spelling bee for the elementary school at UMFK this past week. Was it last week? It's great. The kids came in, they did what they were supposed to do, it ran smoothly, everybody was happy. There was no chaos, even though it was all of these students and waiting for buses. It was great. Really nice.
Committee reports.
for policy committee, we have a second read of policies. JICI was brought to you last time, has been revised to reflect the recommendations of the policy committee, which removed most references to substance abuse, since we already have a policy to address this for all students. EFC replaces our current EFC meal charge policy. EFDA and EFE replace our current EFEA. Sale of food products on school property at school-sponsored events. EGAD replaces our current EGAD and renames it reproduction of copyrighted material, and EHB is a required policy that we do not have in place.
Usually we ask questions after the motion's live, but I'm going to ask if there are any questions on these, then I'll ask for a motion. No questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to approve the second reading and adopt policies JICI, EFC, EFDA, EFE, EGAD, and EHB.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
And I would like to set a date for a next policy committee meeting, and I've proposed the dates and times of Thursday, February 20, Tuesday, February 25, and Wednesday, February 26.
What was the first thing?
Thursday, February 20.
Can you tell us again who's on that committee? Is it me?
I'm on that. I was
Toby and Lori.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tentatively say the 20th.
Okay.
That's a Thursday.
I I can send a calendar invite.
So you'll send it.
Yep. And if something comes up between now and then, we can always reschedule.
I know the other 2 dates are no's, so.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Items of business.
Under items of business, retirements. You have retirement of the VU ESC curriculum coordinator. You see the attached retirement letter from Sharon Chassis. As indicated in the letter, Sharon plans on retiring at the end of the school year. Although this is a Valley Unified shared position, Sharon is currently employed by SAD 27. I would recommend that SAD 27 advertise and hire for the next curriculum coordinator to be shared with SAD 33 in Madawaska. This is a position that does not use the VU cost share because it's work specific for all three. Therefore, each share is 1/3 each equally. It's also not in your interlocal agreement.
It'd be hard to replace.
Yeah. Everyone's retiring.
I said you're gonna be hard to replace.
Everyone's
Mm.
I'd make a motion to approve the retirement of Sharon.
Second.
Thank you. Or sorry, Christine. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Congratulations, Sharon. And we are going to table the second retirement. All right, I have to take minutes there, so give me a second. We have no resignations, no transfers. Under new hires, you'll have a recommendation letter from Jill Kelly and Mr. Don Chenard. They're recommending Selena McBriarty for the Ed Tech 101 position at Valley Rivers Middle School. And Selena's actually been substituting in that position for quite some time now.
Make a motion to approve Selena priority for the Ed Tech one-on-one position at the RMS.
Thank you. Rory, is that you? Second?
We get a vote on
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the calendar for next year. All those in favor?
that? Thank you. Current openings, we are still looking for a building administrator here and an evening custodian, although we do have two substitutes in that role that are filling in, so we're not
I'm not stuck.
short. Moving on to item B, to approve the 25-26 Valley Unified School Calendar. Some of the highlights on the calendar, we're starting the year off with 3 workshop days for staff, and we're looking to make the first one a Valley Unified workshop, so we're looking at a couple of options for that day. Harvest break for all the schools, the last week of September, first week of October, 1 early release each month, 2 parent-teacher conferences, workshop day 4 on March 13, workshop day 5 on April 17, and that was strategically put there, that April 17. We don't typically have a workshop the day before April break, but every year we are struggling to find substitutes for that date, and we have very low enrollment. So the thought process here was, let's provide a workshop day for those staff that are here, and it doesn't impact student attendance because there is no school on that day for students. Graduation would come for this district on the 12th of June.
I will entertain a motion. To approve the calendar.
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay.
The workshop day before April break,
Yep.
you didn't say it in so many words, but what I thought I understood was that we don't have a lot of staff that are here because they're leaving, I would assume, early for April break because tickets are cheaper.
Well,
And so we're gonna put the workshop day there, so does that mean that we're gonna provide a workshop day, but we're not gonna have a lot of staff here for it?
so
And how does that work?
we don't have enough subs to cover the staff that are out. So when I say a lot, it might be 5, it might be 8. The
Okay.
majority staff are here, because not everyone leaves.
So, but we're not paying, like, we wouldn't have a big presentation that day where we'd pay somebody to come
No,
in
no,
if
no.
we know that we're not gonna have.
No,
full-
it would be end of the year tying up loose
Okay,
ends.
that sounds great then. I'll make a motion to approve the calendar.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. Any discussion? I have one thing. Would it be possible online to have this available in the old format with a bigger calendar? Because I don't know what's happening, but it's getting harder and harder to read small things better.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's getting further and further away. And
Yeah, we could,
even if it's just printable for parents, because I'm at home and I print this thing on the fridge and I can't see it.
Yeah, we'll try to find a solution. Yeah.
Because I appreciate the text, but less important than being able to see the calendar.
Gotcha.
So, if there's no other complaining besides me, all in favor? Unanimous.
So the next item is in regards to open house and graduation. I had received an invitation to just discuss the obligations for open house. So currently, as we have it, the second workshop day of the year, we have an open house for all grade levels. It runs from 4:30 to 6 p.m. and all staff are required to attend. That is very, very well attended here at Fort Kent Elementary School. It's very well attended at Valley Rivers Middle School. It is not attended, Mr. Doucette can attest, at the high school level. On the flip side of the year, all high school staff are required to attend graduation. It's not required of elementary teachers, it's not required of middle school teachers. The ask was to trade open house for high school teachers in exchange for that graduation, that requirement to attend graduation. You actually have in the teacher contract language, the board and the association agree that all high school teachers will attend the high school graduation. So that language is there, if they're required to do it. They've been doing the open house and graduation. Because open house is not attended, graduation's about an hour and a half, so the same requirement, they're asking to be allowed to not go to open house. We would still open the house for anybody that wants to go visit classrooms, but again, at the high school level, it's a very lightly attended, and the guidance office also, when they have students that come in the summer, new students that are going to attend the high school for the first time, they give tours on the fly. So the kids get tours when they come enroll for school, so they already know they're not waiting for open house.
So it's not attended well by students either? Okay. It's not like we're gonna have 30 or 40 students up there looking for their teachers? Okay.
Why don't you think it's a function of just Valley Rivers being there and most of the students having spent a couple of years already in the building?
Makes sense.
It's pretty embarrassing to have your mom and dad go to open house when you're in high school.
And when you've been in that building for 2 years already.
But Tanya says she would still do it.
Just because I'm that parent.
I think it's reasonable. I'll make a motion to approve CHS teachers be excused from open house since they are required to attend graduation.
I'll second.
Thank you, Christine. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
And before we go into executive session, if you hear tonight that, or see on social media, that one of our district pickups was on fire today, it literally was. Mr. Ricky Labby's pickup caught fire inside the cabin. And as he was returning from lunch, his wife, who rides to lunch with him, noticed the smell, and as they looked at the back, there was flames. We think it was a battery pack, a jumper pack that ignited it. We do have some burnt, and so Ricky leaves the seat, and so it's burnt the underneath of the seat, which he's going to repair. Not any more serious damage. He lost a jacket that saved the day.
It saved the pickup.
It saved the pickup. But there were some residents that did stop and were offering to be helpful. I'm thinking, well, maybe that's going to, maybe somebody was, watching.
So like a booster pack or like
Booster pack, and it's quite old. It's not gonna be picked up anymore. I don't know what happened.
but not like a lithium, like an ion battery or anything
I'm
like
not sure
that.
what's in there.
Yeah.
The good news is he cleaned his truck.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of stuff. Peter had boxes of all kinds of chemicals and stuff he would use on the road when we had problems with the buses. So yeah, just watching that fire and I'm looking at that in cold and I'm pulling stuff out. It was pretty intense for a little bit there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not a call that I ever thought I would get.
My jacket got most of it, and then there was still all flames.
Well, you're
In snow, when it's on the snow, it's like, holy.
as bad as it was. At least you were like there to catch it.
Yeah.
Must have happened at night or.
Somewhere
Yeah.
I mean, the smell within seconds. I just looked over and I'm like, holy. Yeah, it was interesting.
Wow.
Well, we're glad that you're okay.
Yes.
So I'm a little shaky.
Well, I bet. I bet. You're constantly checking the back seat.
Cool. Well, I'm glad everyone's okay. I was just gonna move to go into executive session. Make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, let's take a 5-minute break. Let people clear out and reconvene.